Hey, welcome back to the Persistent Data channel. This is an impromptu Sunday afternoon session. The subject for today's stream is Let's Rock the Linux Mint Cinnamon Edition. Okay, since the late 90s, when I first started using Linux, I probably used all the major distributions at the time. You know, from Red Hat to Debian to Ubuntu to Arch and so forth. Of course, my original and still my favorite distribution is still Slackware. Okay, just for sentimental reasons. But anyway, let's go back over here. Let's set up our Okay. I downloaded the ISO Linux Mint 22.2 Cinnamon. Okay, I believe Cinnamon may be it tells us, but I believe it may be is it a KDE desktop? Ubuntu 24, very nice. So it says over here with a base memory of about 1600. Let's give it 4 processors. Let's give this, let's give it 75 gigabytes, okay? No, we're not going to look, I split the disk into 2 gigabyte parts. That's interesting. I'm not sure what that's for, but that's interesting nonetheless. So, create a virtual machine without a virtual disk. Let's cancel this. Let's try this one more time. That's kind of interesting. Virtual machine name. Let's call Mint Cinnamon. Okay. Ubuntu unattended, no. Here, 16 processors. Virtual disk. Let's try 75. Finish. Start. Now, the Linux Mint, like all things from the Linux Mint, folks, is I'll mention it. They have a couple of different ones out there. XFCE desktop. They also have a GNOME desktop. No bootable medium found. Oh, I didn't tell what to load, did I? Storage. There we go. Let's look at one more thing. What I'm looking for is display. Let's give it 24 gig. Let's give it 64 gigabytes of video memory. And as I like to do, let's do view scaled. Do this. Okay. Of course, I've also, as you know, I've been tinkering with tinkering with GhostBSD, trying to get a couple things. I spent a while trying to get UV to work, the package manager, project manager system. So I finally gave up and I switched to R. Okay, so went out, because it does support R, went out and installed, I used the R environment package, created a virtual environment, did an it, which downloaded a bunch of packages. Then it went in, of course, did the installs of the packages, and finally I did a env snapshot. Okay, I'm just kind of stalling here while this is going on. Okay, interesting that this doesn't appear. We got this there. Interesting. That's why I made this private, in case we had some. Oh, it is working slowly. Install Linux Mint. Very good. It was just a little slow getting up there. Wasn't it kind of odd? Now this should be a straight point and click type of install, right? But we'll see. Let me get my smartphone here. Okay, now we're getting someplace. Yeah, I'm going to select English on this. Specifically US English, right? Yeah, good. So it's guessing that. No. Being the open source purist I am, I try to avoid at all costs anything proprietary. It's also good to see we have a terminal icon and a Firefox web browser. Of course, as you may know, Firefox kind of went off the deep end with their political statements, with their woke announcements. Okay, entire disk install now. So that was pretty straightforward, wasn't it? No options, no desktop selection, just plain this good old continue. So this is actually not done too bad, is it? I correctly guessed that I'm in New York, or I'm in the East Coast. Very good. Your name. Choose a password. As DT would say, a strong and complicated password. What do you mean you don't match? Encrypt the home directory. Yeah, we don't need to encrypt the home directory. Copy and files. Let's see. Welcome to thank you for choosing Linux Mint. This slideshow will show you around while the system is being installed. Be fast and safe on the web with Mozilla's Firefox. Watch your favorite shows, Netflix and YouTube. Notice it's copying the files. Let's see. Enjoy music, listen to podcasts and online radio, Spotify and Rhythmbox. Enjoy a high-definition movie or video with VLC and the media player. All modern. Oh, no. Stop. Stop. Don't do that. I clicked the wrong button. Oh, no. Stop. I changed my mind. Draw GIMP. So I skipped something. Look at this. So what it has is, well, so what we have? We have a lot of proprietary applications, which many purists would be on. For many, got this here. I could do without Linux Office. Okay. Steam, Google Earth, Dropbox, Blender. Interesting. Lots and lots of proprietary packages. Featured software and wine. Make yourself at home and modify any aspect of your desktop. Receive fixes and security updates all in one place. If you're curious about something or if you're facing a problem, simply ask around. Linux Mint is one of the most popular desktop distributions and used by millions of. Now, of course, we always got to explain that desktop practically means the window manager. Okay, underneath the window manager, there's a Linux kernel and GNU core utilities and a bunch of other stuff. So when people talk about desktop Linux, what they're really talking about is your window manager. This one here is window manager is Linux is the Cinnamon window manager. Okay, I think it's maybe it's KDE Cinnamon window manager. Window manager consist of basically two things: windows like terminals and pop-up menus. That's all there is. It couldn't be more easy to understand. And I maintain if you take two people equally, and you start teaching one Linux, the other Windows, they'll both will finish at the same time. Deactivated successfully. WQ Unbound. So I would say this other thing about a desktop is it includes desktop type of applications, like we saw music players and video players and Office, but those are still applications. Those aren't really the desktop. Okay. And if all you're doing is doing spreadsheets and emails, you know. I mean, it's no, it couldn't be easier to use. It couldn't be easier to use Linux. Now I'll give you a little heads up. LibreOffice Calc is not Excel. I would go to the point of saying it's not even Google Sheets. It's still missing. It's missing two things that Excel has: database connectivity and Power Query. You can squawk all you want. But the fact of the matter is, until either Google Sheets or LibreOffice has those two features built in, or at least are equivalent to it, businesses aren't going to switch to LibreOffice. So we've been running so far about 14 minutes. I'm thinking of fettuccine Alfredo. What kind of sauce did you have with your pasta? Which is, if you're curious about something or if you're facing a problem, simply ask around. tutorials, active forums, chat rooms, and one of the most dynamic communities on the internet. Now, my personal opinion is, for myself, this is really, it's really installing a lot of stuff that, I'll never use. Okay, so if I knew it was going to install this stuff, I would have given it more space besides 75 gigabytes. Okay, and I'll give you a heads up. I'm probably not going to leave this on my system too long, honestly. What I'm thinking about is, there's a site on the internet called DistroWatch. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not. Let's take a look at it over here. DistroWatch. Okay. And what it has a bunch of Linux distributions listed here. All these over here. Ubuntu Sun, Ubuntu Bungie, Ubuntu Kubuntu, Lubuntu, and all these different things over here. Alma Linux 7.9 Beta. Now some of these, of course, are not really being actively maintained anymore. Knopex. Knopex is one you haven't heard in a while. So we can find out when it was last updated. Oh, good. 10.6. Knopex is what? Desktop GNOME, KDE Plasma. Debian-based distribution. Okay, how do we download it? Knopex.org. Knopex is one of those that's been around for quite a while. Knopex 25 core free. Let's get free Knopex then. While we're sitting there, oh, it's interesting. There's a source for it. There it is. Installing system, very good. So maybe I'll do a few install videos on kind of following old DT's example. Maybe I'll do some install videos. Okay. Things we can install right out of the box. We can install DuckDB. We can install UV, the package manager. We can install Emacs. We can install Doom Emacs. We can add Doom Emacs onto Emacs. We'll see. First of all, we'll see how much space we have left. Okay. So we're almost there. 1 second remaining. You wonder why people are still including Firefox, because Firefox kind of went off the left end of the spectrum on us. Okay, Firefox started to get all woke on us again. So the question is, where's her lover? Configuring hardware. Now, one thing good about Mint, it does do a pretty good job of, it'd be nice if there was an option not to say, don't install proprietary packages. That'd be a nice feature, because who knows, But they're really targeting with all these additional desktop apps. They're really targeting new users. But again, a company wouldn't want all these apps on. The company wouldn't want all these apps on their employees' desktops. You don't want to be. So anyway, I think I'm going to have fettuccine alfredo from my my Nutrisystems selection. So it's taken a few moments to download Knopex. Okay. We're getting somewhere. Install SSD, install a bunch of stuff. Maybe we can go out and try to install some of these lesser known distributions. Show them a little bit of love. What do you think? Both. Here's a Bible trivia question for you. According to the law of Moses, according to Torah, in the case of adultery, who's to be stoned? The man or the woman? That's it for Bible for today. That just kind of indirectly came up at the Salvation Army Day during the sermon. I'll be back in just a moment. Oh, give me something to drink. Who's to be stoned to death, the man or the woman? Both. Here's the question. Is it conflict in universal law? The reason is because according to the law of Moses, both the men are virtuous. Knopex has been around for many, many years, okay? As you can see, it's not a very fast download, right? Yeah, but it'd be nice. It'd be nice if they had a Linux Mint Lite. Yeah. Like a Linux Mint Developer Edition. Okay. And you can include things like you would include things like like different code editors, for instance. You would include tmux, configured tmux or something like that. Of course, here's the reason I say that Linux is a server operating system and not a desktop operating system. First of all, it's fully multi-user. but then it includes server applications like DNS servers, mail servers, database servers, uh, programming languages. Okay, there's all these things which don't belong, which you never see on on Windows 11. Okay, and that's why I say it's not as. But again, when most people say Linux, desktop Linux, they really mean the let's let's see, it's finished. You can continue testing Linux Mint now. Restart. Hopefully it'll come up a little faster the second time, right? And we'll know if we actually enter the desktop if we see the install icon up there above. We may have to actually shut it down and unmount the CD. Please remove the installation media and press enter. That's right. Remove the installation media. Storage. Oh, it's actually already installed. Okay, good. Press enter. Well, I'm not sure how much patience I have with Knopex. Okay. So this is kind of interesting. Obviously, if it continues to boot up this slow, it's not even worth bothering with. So now it's coming up. We gave it what? 16 gigabytes of RAM, 4 processors, and we gave it some memory. Okay. Here's the thing. To me, this is like really, what can Linux Mint? Let's see. Let's do an update. So we want to update let's see what kind of updates it has for us here. This is the so remember that dpkg, Ghost script, Firefox, glibc. Okay. Let's install updates. Here's a question. Can I download a private live stream and edit it? I believe LVM stands for Virtual Mesa Firefox. I'm still here. I'm just watching the packages install. Okay, about halfway through. Once we get the updates installed, we'll reboot the system. We'll reboot the system and see what happens. How many? So we're still here. Linux modules, extras, 6.114 generic. Can we open up this? So as you recall, I gave it 75 gigabytes of space. And we're using up 1% LS. So our root, so this was the LS block return. So what it's saying here is, we currently have 74.5 gigabytes of space, which is hard to believe. No, that's the size, not the, we actually have 62 megabytes available. So let's take a look at something else. What the heck is RBash? Restrictive, if bash is started, restrictive cell is used to set up an environment more controlled. Interesting. Things we can look at. Let's see. So it's using a new version of okay. So we don't have fish, but I can certainly install fish separately, right? I'm going through a little fish phase here, if you pardon the expression. So here's our menu. Now, to me, the theme isn't very good either. The theme's pretty Here's our home directory. Nothing unusual there. Let's change the background. What is E3? So Vim is installed. And what else? What else? Perl's a bit of a you know, at one point before the dawn of the data science age, Perl was a hot commodity because it's all about, you know, writing shell scripts to control your system and stuff like that. Then Python came along, which is easier to work with, easier to understand. And then data science came along, and that led to the R programming language and Panda, packages like tidyverse and pandas and Python. And basically, from what I can tell, Perl kind of got left in the dust. Perl didn't jump on the data science bandwagon fast enough. Okay, but of course it's still there, right? Of course it's still there. So we're slowly getting there. So it's now taken 43 minutes to get through an install process. So let's do so this is Ubuntu. Linux modules generic. SQLite is installed. Configuring Linux image 6.14. Let's take a look at some details here. So you can actually just give you actually the details of everything that's being installed. I'm expecting another package from Amazon today, another book. Sometime between 3:30 and 5:30, they're saying. Well, okay, we're getting close to the end now. As I said, after this, we'll do a reboot and see what happens. So what do you think? What do you think we go out and we look at? We pull down a couple over the course of the next few days. We pull down a couple of Linux distributions, a different new and old, and you know, and stuff like that, and do an install video just to see what happens, just to see what they look like. PPD, high collar, man, of course, dbus, udev, mint system. Oh, we're getting close now. Running auto installation service for kernel generic. Post init install init RAMFS tools. We're getting close now. Hopefully it'll load faster this time than it did before, after the initial install, because it really took quite a bit of time for it to install. Some system reports require your attention. They do. Install updates. Okay, good. System reports. Let's stop that for right now. Oh, good. Reboot. Restart. You wonder who actually uses distributions like Knopex and some of these. Let's be honest. Probably the biggest distribution is Red Hat, also whose open source equivalent is called what? That's right. It's called Fedora, and that's followed by Ubuntu and Ubuntu and what's this up here? I'll skip that. See, to me, this is taking a little bit too long to get to the screen, get to the desktop. That's not. Let's take a look here. So we've used 16% of our disk space, so we have roughly 61 gigabytes left. So there you have it, Linux Mint install.